Welcome to the 359. I'm Alfred Ng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
If you haven't heard, Amazon announced today that they are bringing HQ2 to Long Island City in Queens, New York, and Crystal City in Arlington, Virginia. Our Amazon reporter, Ben Fox Rubin, has all the details on it.
This is so shocking. I can't believe it.
I mean,
Okay, first of all, the news had already been leaked a lot last week from multiple sources. The other issue that I'm sure a lot of people will want to quibble about is they're calling it 3 different North America headquarters.
Oh, yeah. So
what's with that? Like, what is a headquarters anymore?
The third one would be Nashville, Tennessee.
No.
Oh, so the Washington...
Obviously, Seattle is the first one. There's also Nashville, Tennessee is going to get 5,000 people. The other 2, the ones that were announced today, are going to get 25,000 employees each. But Seattle is still the biggest with 45,000.
Did Amazon state what was so appealing about Long Island City or Crystal City in their statement?
Oh, I'm sure they did. I was just like glancing through their statements where they said a bunch of like positive stuff about this, these locations. It's pretty obvious like why they wanted to go to both of these places. These are 2 major centers of power in the East Coast. The DC area, obviously Amazon has been trying to push a lot more into getting more government contracts, more defense contracts. In New York, there's obviously a lot going on with media and entertainment in New York, and Amazon being in Seattle as their primary headquarters as opposed to being in the Valley means that they are, a flight away from that center of power. So plunking down 25,000 high-paying employees in those 2 major areas is going to be pretty significant for the company.
Were there any financial incentives into this?
Yes, very much so.
I know that Governor Cuomo, at one point said that he would change his name to Amazon Cuomo. That's what it takes.
Okay, first of all, don't expect politicians to act any differently than they normally would, because if you're expecting them to not shill themselves for 25,000 jobs or 50,000 jobs, which was the initial offer, then you're being ridiculous. They would. I'm sure Nashville is even very, very excited about 5,000 jobs. The problem is, and the joke of it is that this was supposed to be an equal, like a co-equal to Seattle, and instead it's being separated by multiple states. So like calling it 2 different headquarters, 25,000 each, it's different than what was initially promised. And so a lot of people, and it's also exactly where a lot of people would have expected them to locate anyway.
So what were the financial incentives? I know I interrupted you a little bit. But...
Yeah. So New York is offering $1.5 billion in incentives. Virginia is offering $575 million in incentives. Nashville got away easy with only $100 million in incentives, and that's for creating high-paying jobs.
I think in the paperwork or in the terms for Amazon in New York, it was $48,000 for every job that they bring that pays more than $150,000.
Right. Yeah. Temporarily, obviously. At some point they are not going to get that incentive.
And there was another part that mentioned, in lieu of paying taxes, it would be developing infrastructure within Long Island City and Queens. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that deal. I don't know how many schools Amazon is making or how much it's helping with the subway or the police in New York, but I feel like that is something that, community organizers have always been annoyed about in terms of this deal. I know in Newark, they had basically given them the largest possible tax break had they gone with Newark.
Actually, Maryland gave them the biggest with $8.5 billion. Yeah. Newark offered the second highest publicly known one with $7 billion. But yeah, there are a lot of questions that people always ask as far as this is one of the wealthiest companies in the world. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. Why are we giving them any money?
I wish I could get paid $1.5 billion to move to New York. But,
or to do exactly what you were planning on doing in the first place.
So, that's all the time we have for today's show. If you liked what you heard, check us out on CNET. I'm Alfred Ng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening.
And thus concludes another recording of the audio podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for the recording of the podcast. Now it's time to jump into the chat and take some questions and comments, and there's a lot of good ones filtering in. For expanding on the commentary we had earlier about Amazon and their tax breaks, and are they building schools? Are they helping subways? I'll tell you one thing, it's not going to help the subways, crowding them up, going out to Long Island City. And I live in Long Island City, Astoria to be exact. And I got some cold hard facts for those who are going to be working out there at the new Amazon HQ whenever that happens. Trains aren't great. Not great.
The worst part is that the 7 train, which I assume is what would be along Long Island City for what they're taking, as bad as it is still consistently the best train in New York City. That's
alarming.
No, like I used to have to take the 7 train a lot. Also, the Strap Hangers campaign or Strap Hangers Alliance. It's like the subway like rider
group.
Yeah, they have always rated the 7 train as like the best train in New York.
Isn't it the newest one? That
Not
one goes...
really. No. I mean, yeah, like the 34th Street
there's
Hudson Yard stop is the newest one, if that's what you mean.
Yes, that is what I mean, because that's what I would use it for.
I feel like if I were still taking that train every day, though, I'd be extremely frustrated at because that train is really crowded in the mornings. Brian, I'm sure you can attest to it if you take this train, but it's like stupid crowded.
So to kind of take the other position here, just to explain why politicians are so interested in these types of developments, despite the fact that we're talking about schools and police, roads, subway, all those things, is that they see this as an enormous long-term benefit. I saw it when I lived in Connecticut, where they were developing these giant casinos in the middle of nowhere. And they built 2 really big ones. One of them was Foxwoods. One of them was Mohegan Sun. And the politicians were falling all over themselves, saying this is going to be jobs, this is going to be investment, this is going to help our community. Years later, obviously, there were a lot of complaints about the fact that police were answering a lot more phone calls than they had used to. The infrastructure, the roads around the casinos were not nearly as well equipped. Mm-hmm. So, and that was granted in the middle of nowhere, but New York City, as we were talking about, already very strained infrastructure. Amazon has said they want to be a partner in helping develop HQ2, but I understand why people would be very concerned about this too.
And Long Island City, let me just kind of paint a picture for anyone that's not from New York or familiar with the area. It's very much an industrial kind of setting. It is building up. There are a lot of high-rise condos and fancy places now, but if you're on a ground level, it's still very much industrial construction stuff there. It's the only place in New York that has a Goodwill that sells by weight. You can go in and people wait in line for that, and they have these giant bags when they come in, and they put everything in the bag, and it's $5 for a pound of cloves there. That's kind of the vibe that
that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
I want to go to that Goodwill.
I hope that helps paint the image of what Long Island City is kind of like.
Where it's more gritty and working class.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also gradually shifting. The MoMA PS1 is around there. They took a public school that was closed and they turned it into an art museum. It's very much stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's a big difference between Long Island City and Newark. Mm-hmm. Newark was obviously in the running. They offered a ton of money, and there's a lot of development area in Newark, but it is not in significant development. It's not in the process of gentrifying, it sounds like, in the same way Long Island City is. Anyway.
Let's jump into the chat and dig out some questions. First up, from Sean Lewis, they're deciding how between Virginia and New York City will each building be responsible for different things? How does this really work out? What's the point of having multiple HQs?
Good question. I don't think they really said.
Yeah, they didn't clarify, but I would assume that the one in Virginia is more dedicated to Amazon's government contracts. So they have a big deal with the CIA and I believe the Department of Defense on cloud services. And also, obviously, there is their facial recognition program that has been catching a lot of flack, but also courting government contracts in that way. Also, Jeff Bezos has ties to the Washington Post.
Ties?
As in he owns it.
Right, there we go.
But, I feel like he'd probably be closer to that operation within the Crystal City office. As far as New York, I feel like, Ben, you might have a better answer for that.
Well, they currently have a lot of advertising and fashion employees, so I would expect them to double down on those areas and media relations as well. So those are all important areas in New York. The other thing that we didn't even mention was that Google is planning on significantly expanding its footprint in New York.
Yeah, in the
and
West
they're
Village,
gonna,
right?
Yeah, they're going to expand with 12,000 more workers. So granted, that's not nearly as many people as are in Silicon Valley, but I don't know. That is, it shows how significant New York is becoming as another tech hub.
Next question. So what really is the effect on the consumer level of things with these new headquarters? Are we going to get additional perks as Amazon customers, or is this really just expanding their general operation?
You get a chance to work as an Amazon employee now. If you buy a Prime membership, they'll hire you as and for $150,000.
That's how great their wages are. That they.
I don't know that it really hits much on the consumer level, except to convey the fact that Amazon is growing, and it's growing really, really quickly, and it doesn't plan on slowing down anytime soon. So if you are an Amazon customer, expect to see more stuff out of them in the near future, because they're obviously a very ambitious company.
Next question is coming in from Timothy Dew. Is there a correlation that when a big company brings their core offices to a big city, will the housing prices and cost of living increase as well? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's definitely going to bump up, especially for Long Island City around that area. Considering that they're right now, let me look up the average rent of Long Island City real quick. But
It just changed while you were looking it up.
but yeah, if I'm a landlord around that area and I know that there are at least 25,000 employees coming in over the next 10 years that have have six-figure salaries, do you think I'm going to be charging the same rate that I was charging people before? There's no way.
Right. And in the broader area too. Obviously, we've seen how Brooklyn and Manhattan have had, significant increases already. Those will just get exasperated.
Yeah, the average household income for Long Island City is about $70,000. And Amazon is going to
Really?
they're going to be bringing in like an influx of people that make more than double that. So
right. The other issue to consider is it going to be an influx of people that are going to be coming in from other cities around New York, or are they just going to be poaching people from other New York City tech jobs? So it is possible that it's not going to be a massive influx. Either way, it probably will be a massive influx and thousands more people coming in, not just shifting people over from different jobs, but it's important to consider, I guess, not all 25,000 are going to be new people to the city.
And this is according to Curbed from a 2017 article, but Long Island City is already the least affordable neighborhood in one of the least affordable neighborhoods in New York.
That's why I thought they weren't going to come to New York. It's already ridiculously unaffordable. I didn't even know where they were going to locate 25,000 people, where they need 4 million square feet. So that, at least to me, was a bit of a surprise. But it always seemed very, very likely that they were going to go to D.C. So if I was to be surprised at all by any of this announcement, it was that they were going to put New York on the map too.
Long Island City is pretty expensive, which is why I am looking for a roommate. If any Amazon employees are listening to this, I'm charging about $10,000 a month, which I think is a pretty sweet
reasonable
deal. Yeah.
Bring your Prime membership.
Yeah.
Though.
So if you're interested, tweet at me. Let me know.
Good idea.
What is the higher cost of living, New York or Seattle?
They're both very high. They're both very high, but and Seattle has increased substantially since Amazon has been growing there really, really quickly.
New York is 2.5% more expensive than Seattle.
Right,
Yeah,
but Seattle, the
New
Valley,
knows.
Yeah, see, it's Seattle, Silicon Valley, like the San Francisco area, and New York are like the three of the most expensive areas in the U.S.
Way more than LA.
Okay, let's throw LA in there. I actually don't know LA off the top of my head because I'm a tech reporter. I know those three areas.
He's not a real estate agent.
I'm not a real estate guy, but I am offering Amazon employees to move into my basement in Springfield, New Jersey for the low price of $9,999 a month.
Well, what a steal.
Yeah, that's much cheaper than what Alfred was offering. So come one, come all.
My commute is better.
Okay, well, I'll help with the commute a little. I'll
Ryan,
give everybody a Danish.
How much would you charge an Amazon employee to live with you You're right there. You're in Astoria, so.
I mean, I just want a free Prime account.
Oh.
What?
Wow.
Wow, you really undercut the market. Not cool, dude.
I have simple tastes. Let's take some more questions, all right? This one's a little off topic, but from Timothy Dew. Question for commuters in New York. Is it better or faster to use an Uber or Lyft or the train to get to work? Uber and Lyft is never worth it unless you're running around super late at night, and the trains are basically non-existent. Don't get me wrong, they function just fine, but if you're trying to commute through actual New York rush hour traffic, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're better off taking the train.
Even though the train is bad, a lot.
I did the math on this when I was up in Queens last week to vote, and I could either take the 7 train all the way back down to the N train and then go to Brooklyn, or I could take an Uber. That would have been a straight shot there, but it was like 6 o'clock, so it was like rush hour traffic. And I would have gone back in the exact same amount of time, even though I would have paid like $40 for an Uber instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of the times it depends on traffic, or if you just want to be by yourself, like you don't want to be surrounded by people. Like if you want to pay the extra like money for that, go ahead. But like time wise, it's usually the same. Which
Give
is
or take, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, outside of when I leave here at 12:30 in the morning, like I did last night, and the trains are not running, I took a car home.
Yeah.
All right, so we got time for a couple more questions from Storm King. Do you think New York will have a dedicated transportation system to and from Amazon, like a central hub? That's a far out question right there, but it does spawn some other thought processes that Timothy and Andre have been kind of bringing up. What if Amazon did develop a transportation system, a proprietary transportation system?
Drones.
What else could Amazon get into? Now, here's some fun thoughts. What if Amazon developed a film studio? If they're going to be in Long Island City, they're not far from Silver Cup Studio, the famous TV studio. I wouldn't put that too far past them. Would they get into politics, given their proximity to D.C.? Would they expand into other transportation avenues like Elon and the Boring Company? And what if they started to develop housing to compete with higher rent just because they put a headquarters here?
Oh my God, that's so many questions.
Yeah, all of that. I think all of that's extremely optimistic of what Amazon really wants to do. Because you're comparing them to like 5 different companies that are doing these things. And I'm like, I get it that Amazon's like the everything store, but I don't think they're doing like all those things. Like
obviously they're getting into politics. They spend a lot more money in politics than they used to. And
they get a lot more money from politics than they used to.
Right. So, and Bezos has obviously been much more involved with that kind of stuff. So definitely expect more of that. As far as them moving more into transportation, like the most that I would expect them to do in New York or Arlington is to like create a shuttle service. Like they offer that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Google has their own bus service from San Francisco to their office in like Mountain View. NYU like has their own shuttle service for their own students. If there were a transportation thing, they'd have to do it themselves, like not with the city of New York. Like they wouldn't fix the subways as much as I'd like to see.
And they wouldn't build their own subway, which would be like
I mean that's kind of what Elon Musk is doing with the Boring Company, like those tunnels.
It's like the schmuckiest thing ever.
Yeah,
is that you're gonna build your own subway
and
just
as far
to
as
your
the
headquarters.
housing things go, like if Amazon were intent on doing that, they'd have done that for Seattle, where they also messed up the housing market. So
good point. Yikes.
I mean, you'll probably see a lot more Whole Foods in your neighborhood. That's like the only thing I can really think of. Like as far as like improving the quality of life for around like where you are.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I think Whole Foods has delicious hummus. We have time for a couple more questions. Timothy Dew, Amazon is announcing free shipping for all customers for the holiday season. Aren't there any perks or discounts for current Prime members?
They'll probably announce some of that later. Usually they have like a December surprise that they like to announce just to get people excited and interested about shopping on Amazon. Like one year it was Amazon Go, which granted it wasn't open yet. The other year it was the drones, which granted that hasn't happened yet either.
Yeah,
okay,
all these
never
surprises
mind.
just seem like things that don't actually materialize.
These December surprises are terrible. So yeah, don't expect anything. But yeah, as we get closer to Black Friday, expect Amazon to like announce more deals. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe they'll even have like an HQ2 deal, which would be really lame, but we'll see what they decide to come up with.
Do we get a field trip with your buddy Jeff when they build that thing, Ben?
I Sure.
It'll be a while.
It'll be a while. They plan to start hiring for all 3 locations next year. And it's going to take them quite a long time to actually staff up to 25,000 in each location and also build out the space for 4 million square feet. So these are like 15-year projects. This isn't like a unboxing where it's just going to be ready to go immediately.
Why not? We're in the world of immediate satisfaction. I demand a HQ to be unboxed right now.
But yeah, or at least with 2-day shipping, I suppose. So yeah.
I think they should put Mike Shaw in charge of this because his brilliant idea, I want a subscription to Subway Prime.
Yeah. Isn't that just a monthly commuter card?
Yeah, but it's not $99 for the year. It's like $121 a month.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then it also doesn't work.
Yeah.
So thanks, MTA.
Matthew Datcher and Amazon HQ is great and all, but where are they going to put the data centers for AWS?
They put them all over the United States. Yeah. The data centers not only have to be located in a bunch of different places because of potential natural disasters or what have you, but they also, because of the way the internet works, you might know more about this than I do, but the way the internet works is you could locate them in the Midwest and it doesn't really harm the way that those data centers work.
Yeah, it's in the cloud.
Mm-hmm. And the cloud is super fast. But yeah, they have data centers all over the place, just like they have warehouses all over the place, like dotted all over the United States.
Henry K is just kind of daydreaming about what the campus could look like. What kind of incentives do you think Amazon may include to make a really attractive campus, like a Google-type campus in Long Island City?
It actually took them like 20 years to develop kind of a landmark piece in Seattle.
Is it those disgusting spheres?
Yes. Yeah, okay. It was the spheres, which inside they look really, really cool. They're like kind of like a terrarium. Mm-hmm. Feel like a spider when you're walking around in there. And there's all this like, it's like a rainforesty kind of thing.
I really hope they don't bring that to...
They're not going to do that over again, but they're intentionally non-flashy. Like when you walk around their campus in Seattle, they on purpose do not have big Amazon banners, like big Amazon signs outside the buildings because they're trying to blend in. You could also claim that they're not trying to blend in. They're just trying to take over and do it very quietly. But those are 2 different ways of looking at it.
The chat wants to know if any of us are going to quit and join the Amazon HQ.
Yeah, I've been covering Amazon for the past 3 years with the explicit interest of getting hired by them. So if you guys are listening, hire Ben.
They've already told me I'm not qualified.
Oh, well, they told me that a few times already, but I'm still trying.
Never quit. Always follow your dreams.
Right. Either way, the podcast is going to repurpose itself as the Amazon 59 when HQ2 opens in Long Island City.
The podcast lasts for as long as it takes for a package to get to your doorsteps. So,
but yeah, we'll all get hired there. It'll be great.
Okay, we are just about out of time. Hashtag hire Ben. Before we go, I need you to look at the camera, right? Go ahead, look at the camera. And say David Rodriguez.
David Rodriguez.
Why?
Because he's having a mild aneurysm in the chat and needed a shout out just to get through his day. So,
oh, hey, what's up?
We hope we made your day. But we are out of time. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably with some more chatter and speculation about Amazon, but who knows?
Oh my God, I hope not.
HQ5 tomorrow, baby. Let's go.
Let's never ever talk about HQ2 again. This has been such a
HQ3 it is.
Much ballyhooed year of BS.
I just
let's be done with
ballyhoo?
It. Yes, I said ballyhoo.
It says ballyhoo anymore.
I love relishing
in
all the thirsty posts from people that wanted Amazon HQ2, and it's like, look at that. Your giant cactus did nothing.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment.
All right, send us on out of here.
Oh, I'm doing this. Okay. Well, if you liked what you heard today, the 359 podcast is available on Stitcher. That's it.
That's it.
It's
iTunes. I'll do it. iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Feedburner, Google Play Music, Google Podcast, Amazon Echo. Go Amazon. And of course, CNET.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't send in any more HQ2 questions. I never want to talk about it again.
Or tweet at him. Is at Ben Fox Rubin.
Please don't. I'm not interested.
He's going to be answering questions all day, so...
All right, bye, folks.